What's up, everybody? I'm Alex, and welcome to the Science of Golf Performance. I am the director of our virtual training department here at Par for Success, and I'm here to talk to you about female training considerations. So, overall, we have a philosophy that applies across the board to females and males when it comes to training for better club head speed, getting stronger, more powerful, but there definitely goes to say there are some physiological differences when it comes to females and males. So this video is going to list out some of the key points. If you are a female watching this, this applies all across the spectrum to all females, especially ones who are trying to improve their performance. So the first thing I want to point out and talk about is lifting heavy. Okay, number one, lifting heavy up here. Okay, so all females should be lifting heavy, especially if it comes to increasing performance. There's a stigma out there for a lot of females that it's, they don't want to get bulky. It's very scary to lift heavy because they're going to get injured. But it's also goes to say it doesn't go to say how important it is for a female to lift heavy, relatively heavy to you. So why is this? The first thing is, as a female, we are much more prone to things like osteoporosis in our older years, low bone density, calcium deficiencies, and just for overall health, even if you're not trying to increase your performance, one of the main things to prevent all those things or to drive up your bone density is going to be lifting heavy, right? Some sort of resistance training. And I don't mean curling really light 5-pound dumbbells 20 times on each arm, 50 times on each arm. I mean lifting weight that's challenging to you, but where someone can teach you correct form and how to do it without getting injured. Shouldn't be afraid of getting injured. If you work with a coach, hire us. We'll take you through some techniques. Make sure your technique is sound so that you're not getting injured, but getting the benefits out of the strength training. Okay. Kind of going along with this, females, especially the younger population, is definitely more hypermobile. Joint laxity is higher than in males. So again, very much at higher risk for injuries because of this. We're not as strong, we don't have as much testosterone, so we're at high risk for injury. We're more mobile, which is great for golf, right? We love, junior girls come in here and they're super flexible and they can get a nice big backswing. But then I see the girl, taking her foot, putting it around her head because she's so mobile, but she can't lift a 10-pound weight. Okay, that's a problem. And for females, we really want to dial in the strength training because that's going to scale back on some of that almost dangerous scale of mobility, right? We want mobility, but to a scale, and that's why strength training is, again, so important. So number two, this is going to apply to, I'm talking to more the 40-year-old female and younger. We talked about the menstrual cycle briefly. So number two, menstrual cycle, we'll put up here. So I could do a whole video on this, but I'm just going to kind of touch on it briefly. But there are optimal times in your menstrual cycle that you can really maximize training and that you should focus on recovery and repair. So those first 2 weeks of your menstrual cycle, which are called the follicular phase, that is when it's good to push. It's good to lift heavy weights and try and overload, push yourself in the gym. This is great time, hormone levels are stable so that you're recovering well, and if you're eating well, everything will really be in your benefit. Now, the last 2 weeks of your menstrual cycle, which is called the luteal phase, this is more we want to pull back a little bit, our deload, recovery time here. Okay, hormone levels are not as stable and in favor of recovery. We're at higher risk for injury at this point if we're not careful. Joints tend to be a little more laxative in this time frame. So work with your coach if you haven't already. Again, kind of reach out to us at Par for Success. Our coaches are knowledgeable on this when working with female clients, especially at the junior age, the teens, the college, and even 20s, 30s. How to optimize training based off the menstrual cycle. Okay, again, I could do a whole video on this. Maybe we will someday, but it's very important for females to consider their menstrual cycle when trying to improve performance and have that training. Okay. So the third thing I want to talk about, just touch on, is nutrition. Okay, so nutrition considerations for females. Kind of going along with low bone density in our older years and osteoporosis, we definitely want to keep an eye on calcium and iron levels. I definitely recommend getting blood work done at least every year, probably a few times a year, if you have that available to you, and kind of checking these things, calcium and iron, especially if you're an athlete, if you're training, no matter what age you are. These are the things that are really going to determine, am I healthy, like, are my bones healthy, kind of get away from that osteoporosis kind of in my future, things to manage along the way. And along with that, protein intake, okay? So across the board, yes, males and females need to focus on protein, but I'd argue that females need to focus on it even more so in their diet. So, we don't have as much testosterone. We're not as anabolic at times or like muscle making as men are. So it's harder for us to put on muscle and sustain muscle. So we need to really focus on this muscle building macronutrient, which is protein. So easiest and quickest way to do that, what's your body weight? Multiply that 0.8. That is the minimum amount of protein that you should be aiming for in a day. Whether you use MyFitnessPal or another way to track your macronutrients, focusing on a good diet with fruits and vegetables and whole grains, and we've done a couple of nutrition videos, but for sure getting the amount of protein is king and is key and can go a long way for females in their recovery and their training and just overall. Okay? So if you're not sure where, on your spec, if you're a female, you're not wondering like, am I lifting heavy? Is my nutrition sound? Am I getting enough protein? How do I dial in training around my menstrual cycle? Reach out to us. I would actually take the home assessment in the description below. We can see where you are from a mobility standpoint, from a strength standpoint, and that'll help us to help make a customized plan for you, talk with a coach about these 3 key things. So we're really passionate about helping all athletes here, but definitely dialing in female training. So please take a look at the home assessment in the description. Reach out to us, and we'll be happy to help with that. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.